Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final third. And today we are doing a bit of a special video. As you can see, we are not in our natural habitat. We are currently in Dubai, and we decided let's record in our hotel room. But before we get started with the revealing of the not results, but talking about the results, how do you want to give us the player from the last video?
Yes, the player from the last video was Victor Moses.
Yeah, great player, great player. Obviously today was our first in-person video. Hopefully the first of many to come. But we obviously need to find an office for that first. So let's just jump straight into it and see how it goes. But the first game of the weekend was a game that made me very happy. The Manchester Derby. We beat Manchester City 2-0. And that is just the least of it. We should have won by way more than that. If it wasn't for Donnarumma, the post, and the offside goals, we could have won 7 or 8-0. But what did you think of the performance?
Yeah, so I watched the first half of the game, and it was a very dominant performance, to be fair, from Man United, I can't lie. Very good game. I can't lie, it was very surprising from Man City how poor they played, if I'm being honest. Just not like them, really. They've been off it for a while now, the last few games, to be fair. Haaland been a bit off it, probably hasn't been getting the service he usually gets. Everyone just wasn't great for Man City. It's clear that the defence was a big problem that they have. Obviously, they just signed Mark Gahey, which is crazy, the amount of money they're spending. So I just don't know how they're getting away with that, to be honest. We'll have to wait for those 115 charges to finally,
Be decided.
See whether they actually get done for them or not. What else can we say? Yeah, no, I think Mark Gahey will definitely help them. Donnarumma was the only good player on that Man City squad. Apart from that, the rest were awful. But fair play to United, because it wasn't just an awful Man City performance. It was an absolutely amazing Man United performance, the way they were playing with the ball and everything. Very good, very entertaining, to say the least, as well. But very good game.
Yeah, it was like Man United of old, counter-attacking, and sorry about my voice as well. I'm kind of a little bit ill. So Man United of old, we used to counter-attack and be very dangerous the same way we were against Manchester City. My favorite part of the whole game really was when we started passing it around Cherki, because honestly, that guy was chatting so much rubbish before the game, and that's why you don't chat before the game. A lot of players make that mistake, and if you can't back it, don't do it. And we passed that around him, Bruno Cunha, and all of that. And that was very nice to see, because I'm not used to seeing Man United passing the ball around like that, really. And there was another sequence as well before earlier in the game where it was like a nice sort of build up and play and passing, and was really kind of disappointed we didn't score from that. But again, we were so dominant. It should have been more. Obviously, possession is always going to be in City's favour, but shots and everything, like we said, if it wasn't for Donnarumma, then obviously the game would have been over a long time before it was. Do you know what I mean? We scored relatively late in the game. But what I will say is the goals we scored were very good too. Like the first goal, that's a classic Man United counter-attack. We've seen that, with the likes of Rooney and Ronaldo and Tevez, and how we used to hit on the counter-attack like that. It was beautiful to see, man, because it's really good to see us perform against a big team. But the most important thing, can we take it into the next game? We got Arsenal next at the Emirates. Arsenal will play a similar style of football, dominant, and try and push into the box. If we can perform on a similar level, I think we can hit Arsenal. Whether their defense is way stronger than Man City, so that's the thing that we'll have to see if we can exploit any opportunities we get. But that's just what I'll say on that game, really. The next game is Chelsea versus Brentford. They also won 2-0, Chelsea, and at home. And I believe that's
first game for in the Premier League. Rosnier, I think.
Rosnier. So 2-0 win, convincing. What did we think about the game?
Let's be fair, I didn't really watch the game per se. One thing I will say is I did watch the game against Arsenal in the Cup. That was Liam Rosnier's first game in charge. And to be fair, they looked really good.
It was the second game.
Was it the second game? No, I think it was the first one that he was possibly in charge of.
No, because he did the cup game.
Yeah,
the FA Cup game.
Did he? Oh yeah, he did. To be fair, sorry, that's my bad. But it's like the against Prem teams what I'm on about. So that was against Arsenal. Obviously, it was a pretty good game, to be fair. So I'm probably gonna have to more base it off that. They look good. One thing is, a lot of people I feel like didn't give any hope or even chance for the manager whatsoever. Like even the Chelsea fans were like basically against the decision of him coming in, and I can get that because Chelsea are a club that are used to having the best managers every time. You know that win trophies all the time, have a bit of a history, bit of pedigree. And this is a new manager that they just brought in from Strasbourg. We know the reasoning why they brought him in, obviously because of the whole blue coat thing. But no, he's gone off to a good start. We didn't think that Chelsea would win this game, if we're being perfectly honest, and not only because Chelsea, were going through so much, but more because Brentford have been really good at, in recent times. But then again, we do know that Brentford away aren't the best. But yeah, no, fair play to Chelsea. It's a good win, 2-0, especially at home for his first game in the Premier League in charge. So maybe that will give a bit more credit to himself. Maybe the fans can start to get behind him a bit more because of that. But obviously, yeah, he's still got more games to go to really prove himself. It's only the first game, but it's a good first game for him. So yeah, not bad.
100%. Like you say, with the Brentford side of things, they don't really win as much away from home as they do at home. Um, Robert Sanchez had to do a lot in the game and was probably the man of the match. Kept Chelsea in the game, obviously.
Yeah.
Had to make 5 saves, or at least that's what it says, 5 shots on target. So, like we said, we didn't really watch the game. We were busy with preparing ourselves to come to Dubai, obviously. But yeah, Chelsea weren't convincing per se in this game. It was a very even game. I would say. I think that maybe the shot creation is not as much as you would hope for a team like Chelsea. You'd want them to create more chances, but again, they were clinical. They took their chances. They won 2-0, and that's good. And if the goalkeeper performs and the defense performs, that's what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be as create loads of chances. If you're clinical with the chances you have, and obviously defend well, it's very cliche, but they did their job really, and it was a good win for them. So yeah, Brentford a good side. They were higher up in the league, and they still are. But yeah, I think it's a good performance from Chelsea, and I definitely think they'll take the win. But if we go on to the next game is Leeds beating Fulham 1-0. Now Leeds continue that great form they're on. I believe they scored very late on in the game, in the 91st minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? Leeds, they're very impressive since December last year. What more can you say?
Look, I've seen with yes, since they started, starting to play well and got out of the relegation scrap and everything, the way they turned it around is through a tactical change from Daniel Farker, and it is really paid off. The way they changed the formation that they play, I believe they now play with a 3-back, or at least like a 5-back, something like that. You get what I'm saying? And so yeah, and that change has like completely transformed the way they played. And obviously, another player that's very key to every the success that they're having so far is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I'm not sure, did he score the goal in this game? He didn't score the goal in this game, but he has been scoring a lot of important goals for Leeds recently.
And as Premier League Player of the Month as well.
And yeah, obviously got Premier League Player of the Month as well. Deservedly so, to be fair. But yeah, obviously, from West Ham point of view, it's a bit, was it worrying in our perspective, because obviously at the start of the season it was them that were in the relegation zone and we were just out of it. Now they've managed to claw themselves out of it, and now that we've fallen into it. We'll get on to West Ham later and the relegation zone a bit more as well later. But what I got to say for this performance from Leeds is it's a really, really good win for them, and a really important one, because Fulham, the opposition they're playing, are a really good team who are on also very good form themselves. And so it was never going to be an easy game for them. But one thing that we always mention is the fact that Ellen Road is such a hard place to go. And I think this game's proved it. Yes, it was a very narrow win. But in the death, time, was it? Literally in the last minute they scored. But sometimes, that happens in the Premier League. That's you got to win games like that sometimes, and they did it, and they persevered in the game. They didn't just give up towards the end, and they still managed to get a goal. So it's also a good thing to have as a Premier League team. So yeah, fair play to Leeds. I think they'll survive this season, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
but there's still a long way.
The form they're in, 100%. I mean, like you say, the gap between them and the relegation zone is just getting bigger and bigger every week, because
they just keep winning.
They keep winning. The other teams, they're not getting enough points. So I think that they're probably going to be safe this season. But again, they go on a bad vein of form in the next couple of games. If, like we say,
Yeah.
We'll discuss West Ham later. If they pick up a good vein of form, they can maybe get out the relegation zone. Forest, if they start to do well, do you know what I mean? Burnley potentially. I mean, Wolves, they haven't lost this year, so it's still kind of interesting. There's still a couple games to go. The relegation zone isn't decided just yet, but it is starting to look like what it probably will be at the end of the season. But yeah, Leeds are probably out of that battle. I'd say for Fulham's side of things, I mean, Harry Wilson didn't perform in this game. He's their most important player, and it's a bit like a one-man team. If Harry Wilson doesn't perform and create chances and score goals, then they don't have any sort of form of creativity in the team.
Yeah.
I can't really name you another player.
Was Batsy and then look backward? No, so much.
Smith hasn't been very convincing, if you
Yeah.
know what I mean. And
Yeah.
Sessegnon has been playing left back, and now he's playing in the attack. So he's not really going to make much chances by himself.
I do think when some of the boys I think obviously they're back from the AFCON, but when they start getting back into the team like Bassey and Iwobi and stuff, especially Iwobi, he's just as key
He's
to the
good, yeah,
team
he's very
as
good.
I'd say Harry Wilson is, if I'm being honest. So I think when them lot integrate back into the team, because obviously they only just came back from AFCON, really, so I'm not surprised that they didn't play the game. But yeah, I think when they get back in the team, then they'll probably start getting results again.
So yeah, now obviously like I was saying about AFCON, this is obviously AFCON's over now. Congrats to Senegal for winning it. Crazy final as well. But
long time.
one of the craziest finals, definitely. So much happened. But again, we're not a AFCON account. We can discuss it maybe later. But yeah. Obviously now every team doesn't really have an excuse about AFCON anymore. All their players are back, unless they're injured or anything. So
Senegal. From Senegal.
I mean, I don't know how long we're going to celebrate.
No, of course they'll be back for the next game, but whether they go straight back into the team.
Exactly. We'll have to wait and see. But we'll move on to the next game, and it is Liverpool versus Burnley. Liverpool drop points again, and obviously throughout the whole season they haven't looked convincing. And yeah, but Florian Wirtz does score again, which is
I mean that's good, but something that was really bad is the fact that Dominic Szoboszlai hit the bar from penalty, which is really, really poor. He's very good at penalties, and he's very, he usually scores most of his penalties, but this time he didn't, and it's cost him the points. However, you can't just blame Dominic Szoboszlai, and I'll tell you why. Because the team that Liverpool have should be not just winning this game, but winning this game by more than one goal. They should be winning like 3-0. They shouldn't really be conceding as well with, centre backs like Van Dijk and Kanai, but we know they've really fallen off this season. But yeah, no, defensively, they're still very, very poor and very fragile. Where the slot's under extreme pressure might be. A lot of the fans still a bit angry with him, I guess. Some of them I've seen online. But look, the fact that they didn't capitalize on trying to sign Gahey as well was is a very big loss for them. Whether they do even sign a centre back this January is yet to be seen. I think they really do if they want to, possibly even win anything. Because they're still in one of the cups, aren't they? They're still in the FA Cup, I believe, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. So if they really even want to challenge for that, they're going to need to get
and the Champions League as well.
And the Champions League, to be fair, but I can't see them winning that with the squad they have at the moment, which sounds absolutely crazy to say, but it's just because the defense is so poor. Fair play to Burnley though, managed to get a big point for them, especially against a team like Liverpool. I'd say it's a more poor performance from Liverpool than it is a great performance from Burnley. But got to still give credit to Burnley for being able to stay in the game, getting a point. So good for them.
100%. Burnley, they've actually looked quite good defensively because when they played against Man United, and they drew 2-2, they had insane, defensive actions in that game. And in this game, Liverpool dominated in every aspect: shots, possession, everything.
That 11 shots on toes.
I'm guessing the goalkeeper had a great game. The defense obviously had a great game. And you know what? Fair play to Burnley because they've gone to Anfield and got a result. Now, maybe saying that a couple of years ago would have been way more impressive than it is saying it now because I feel like most teams are going to Anfield and get results. But don't take anything away from them. And Marcus Edwards as well. Let's talk about him. He's a great player. He's probably the talisman for Burnley.
Yeah.
I thought he was very good against Man United as well. He's got his low center of gravity, which makes it very hard to stop. And again, scoring the goal to get them the result in the game is very, very good. Because again, like we say, a team like Burnley aren't going to create many chances. So you need players that take their chances, and he did. So you got to give credit where credit's due. So fair play to Burnley for getting that result. So yeah, let's move on to the next game. Sorry, guys, about my voice. It's quite annoying of myself, to be honest. It is Sunderland versus Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace drop points again.
I mean, yeah, it's just not looking good at the moment for Crystal Palace. It feels like it's all falling apart for that club at the moment. You know, from losing, obviously, the players that they lost in the summer, losing Gahey now in the January, which is massive. And obviously, the manager's come out and confirmed that he will be leaving at the end of the season. But I think we already knew he was going to leave at the end of the season. And can you blame him? Obviously, he came out in a post-match conference that he isn't being backed by the board whatsoever. I can understand his frustration. Yeah, like to be fair, I was discussing it with Callis before, and but do we expect this from a team like Crystal Palace not to spend like the other teams do? However, the money they've made from the players they've sold, yeah, like they have no excuse. They
Just
can
as the
spend.
qualification for the
And
Conference League as well.
exactly. So they have the money. They must have the money to be able to spend. And the fact that they're not backing the best manager they've ever had, who's gotten the most success for them, it's just crazy. And I mean, because they still got Conference League, yes, but they haven't even looked great in the Conference League. If anything, they've looked awful in the Conference League, which is very worrying. Considering, no offense to the Conference League, considering that we won it as well, but it shouldn't be hard for a team like Crystal Palace to win it. You know, to be honest, we'd expect them to win it. Like they're still obviously they still can win it, but with the way they're performing at the moment, it's not looking great. So yeah, no, very worrying for Crystal Palace at the moment. It looks like it's all falling apart for them, and got to feel bad for them. But I think this was going to come because I've mentioned it so many times before, but with a team like Crystal Palace and teams like this, they will never hold on to talent for long. These players will always want to move on to bigger, better projects, and especially for the money. And obviously, all these players that have left, like, all right, Zaha's a different case, but Gahey, Elise, Eze, they've all left going to bigger and better things, and you can't blame them. And and even the manager. I mean, if the manager's not getting back, why would you want to stay at a club like Crystal Palace? I'm sure you'll go to a bigger club at this point. So not great from Crystal Palace, but Sunderland, we expected them to win this game, especially with the players that have come back from AFCON, strengthening their team again. And it's not looking good for Crystal Palace though.
Yeah, agreed. You started mentioning Sunderland, and like you say, Afcon players coming back, helping a team who made so many African signings in the summer, and obviously them knowing that all of them or almost all of them will be going to Afcon, looked like it would be a bad idea. They did get decent results during actually the Afcon, and now that they have these players back, they will be able to do a lot better because now their squad is looking more complete.
Yeah,
their defense is looking more complete, the midfield, and obviously the attack as well. But the players that are performing are the ones that were behind. Brobbey, he's been getting a good number of goals for Sunderland and been very important. But I did want to mention this Crystal Palace side of things. I feel like the plan for them, if I was the manager, Glasner, obviously he is leaving at the end of the season, as he confirmed. What he should do is to literally just stay out of the relegation zone and not get relegated, even if you finish 17th, is just put all eggs in one basket for the Conference League because I don't feel like there's any other thing left for them.
So
obviously, they got knocked out of the FA Cup, which obviously is very crazy to see against Macclesfield Town.
That's probably.
I mean, they're on horrible form. They are on horrible form.
Disgraceful.
And I don't know what to say about them, but they do need to do something. And I feel like maybe putting all eggs in one basket for the Conference League might be the best idea for them. Similar to what United did last season.
Similar to what West Ham did in their Conference League season as well.
Exactly, and obviously Tottenham as well last season. They put all eggs in one basket in Europe, and they all got to the final. And
say it worked out. It's a bit different.
Yeah,
not really great.
So yeah. Sorry, guys. I might leave for a little bit. Just if you want to mention the West Ham versus Tottenham game.
Yeah. Okay. Carson's just going to probably get some golf jobs, is it?
Well,
he's going to get some more. All right. So you obviously got the West Ham Tottenham game next. It was 2-1 to West Ham, obviously winning it in the last minute with Callum Wilson. I hope he's okay. He's just getting some water. But yeah, no, absolutely amazing win for West Ham. Very happy to see it. Very happy with the result, especially away from home, which is probably like the second away win we've got this season. Obviously, the first one being against the Forest, against our manager that we have now. Look, amazing win. What I'll say is, first half we absolutely dominated that game, and it seems like in a lot of games this season that has been the case. Where in terms of when I say dominate games, yes, we are creating chances, a lot of chances, and we're being very, good on the front foot. However, in terms of actually converting those chances into goals, we have not been great whatsoever. And I think this game was another case of that. I know we won the game, but obviously that came from a late minute winner from Callum Wilson. But yeah, like I say, the first half, yeah, we got the goal. However, the first goal as well. But however, with the amount of chances we created, the fact that we didn't score more is probably could have cost us the game. But luckily, after conceding, fair play to Nuno, makes the right substitution, brings on Wilson, who, to be honest, obviously there's been all the talks about him having his contract terminated. Don't think it's going to happen anymore. I've heard that it's not going to happen anymore, which is the right decision. Because even though they've signed the two strikers, the new ones, the young ones, I don't think it's enough. They'd be enough for us to stay in the league. However, with a player like Callum Wilson, with that Premier League experience, with that pedigree, I think that he can help us to hopefully somehow stay in the league. But at this rate, it's still not looking very likely because even though we won this game and slightly closed the gap on us and Nottingham Forest, they managed to get a draw against Arsenal, which we will talk about later, of course, as well. Which is very important for them because it still keeps the gap pretty big between us and them. But yeah, no, great performance all around from a lot of the players. However, second half, yeah, is where it went downhill for us, which usually happens. The defense again, like the fact that we haven't invested in the defense. Klaus is back.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, no, the fact that we haven't, invested in the defense enough is big. This January is a disgrace. The fact that we haven't signed any centre backs, and they've gone out and bought this winger on loan from fuck knows where, bro. It takes the piss because when you watch the games, the clear biggest problem in the second half, especially, is the defense. Like Mavropanos and Tadibo had great game to that game, but it's just we need a bit more in case like Mavropanos gets injured or even Tadibo gets injured, and then we have no backup because then it's Kilman, and Kilman is shit, and we cannot rely on that. So yeah, but no, great performance. I'm very very happy to see Somerville score because honestly, that guy, like, he is a very, very good player. It's just he has not been scoring and the confidence has been low because of that. But I think this will help his confidence and he can start scoring more goals for us. On the Tottenham side of things, again, similar to Crystal Palace, it seems to all be going, south. The manager is under immense pressure and most likely going to get sacked. The fact that he hasn't been sacked after that game is awful, if I'm being honest. Awful decision from the board. But yeah, no, Christian Romero got the goal like usual. Best player they probably have, if I'm being honest. Him or Van der Ven. They were great this game, if I'm being honest. But yeah, they were just let down. If I'm being honest, even that last minute goal from Howard Wilson's probably very, very poor from Vicario. Just to not be able to punch it out. But luckily for us, he didn't. We got the goal. And yeah, it was very good. But yeah, no, it's looking all south for Tottenham.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing you mentioned the West Ham side a lot, so I'll move on to the Tottenham side. Just not good from them. They've been in poor form, and they've been very poor at home all season. Not getting any results at home really. And I would say there is a conversation that has to be had about Thomas Frank leaving. He should have left probably, but the Tottenham board are backing him, and they've given him the game against Dortmund, which I'm not sure if that's being played today or tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I'm guessing if he loses that game, he might get sacked. Obviously, he might have this game and the weekend to maybe change his fortunes, but it's not looking good for Tottenham at all. So, yeah, that's what I'll say about that. We'll go on to the next game, and it is the Arsenal game. They have dropped points, but surprisingly, they have actually gained a bigger lead because the other two teams dropped points that were in the title race. So, what do we talk about with this game?
I think it's a massive, massive point for Nottingham Forest, more so than, of course, than Arsenal. Like I mentioned just before in the last, game that we were just talking about, the fact that West Ham were able to win and slightly close the gap, but then Forest end up getting a draw. It's very important for them because it still keeps that gap a bit bigger. Gives them a bit more like of a chance of staying in the league. Obviously, because it's right now it's probably between West Ham and Forest for that 18th spot, if I'm being honest. But at this rate, it looks like it's likely going to be West Ham at this rate. Because this isn't only just a massive point in terms of surviving in the league. It's the fact that they've managed to keep Arsenal at bay at home, which is something they're very good at home. At home, they're not as bad, and they're very a strong team. One thing I'll say with Forest is in a lot of games, they performed really well. I remember even against City, they performed really well, even though they lost that game. And that's the thing this season. They haven't actually performed that badly. It's more that they don't probably have maybe a strong enough team to win certain games or get over the line in certain games. But this game is, very good defensive performance. Murillo was very key to that. He's a very good player. Him and Milenkovic. Is it Milenkovic? Yes. What a duo they are. They're probably one of the better pairs of centre backs in the league, to be fair. And the fact that Murillo hasn't been taken by a bigger team is crazy to me. I think if I were I'm surprised. I don't know.
United linked to him.
United linked to him. Yeah, like if there's teams out there that are competing for the league and stuff like this and need to boost their defense, the fact that no one's looking at Murillo is just blasphemy. Because obviously the fact that he's in a relegation battle, it won't be hard to take him out of there. And I think it won't even cost that much. Like for centre back his level, I don't think it would cost too much to get him out of there. And fair play to Forest, but Arsenal, not a great performance from them whatsoever. But like Callis said, doesn't really matter because the other two teams dropped more points, and so it was better for Arsenal because they still managed to make the lead bigger somehow. So yeah.
If I'm honest, guys, I'm not going to be able to speak that long because I've got a bit of a throat problem. So I'm just going to say that Arsenal, they've obviously not got the result, but they've gained a bigger lead, and that's how the league has gone this season. A lot of teams dropping points, but Arsenal looking the more consistent of the teams in the title race. So yeah, that's what I'll say about that game. We'll move on to the next game, and it is Wolves versus Newcastle, and Wolves keep their run of form going. They grew in this game, and very, very good result for them. Obviously, we'd expect them to lose this game, but what did you think about the game?
Look, with the thing is with Wolves, even similarly to Nottingham Forest, like I was saying, in a lot of games, it hasn't even been the fact that they've been performing necessarily really bad. It's the fact that they've just never been able to get over the line in a lot of the games that they've played this season, which has obviously cost them severely because they're obviously rock bottom of the league. But they've turned around in 2026, obviously still unbeaten, which is very good for them. Not sure what Rob Edwards has done to maybe change that. Maybe bringing in the young player Mateus Mane, because he has been an absolute key player for them since he's come in. Where they're scoring goals are just creating chances for them. He's a great player, and let's be fair, probably will end up leaving in the summer. Probably get snatched up by a bigger team, has been the case the last few summers for Wolves, and has been the reason why they are just getting worse and worse. Which again, how many times am I going to mention it? These teams like Wolves, Crystal Palace, even you could argue West Ham, Bournemouth, Brentford, they'll hit a peak, but it'll get to a point. Maybe not Brentford, because Brentford have run so well, but these teams that aren't run so well, they'll peak at a certain point, and there's no way of getting either, first of all, sustaining it, or reaching above that. So yeah, they'll hit a peak, and then once it hits that peak, they'll just start to slowly decline. And that's been the case for Wolves, been the case for Forest this season, been the case for who else? Who was I just mentioning? Crystal Palace, and even it happened with West Ham. Obviously, they won the Conference League, and then it's just been a bit downhill. So great performance though for Wolves. Great result. Newcastle, not really sure what to say. It seemed like they did dominate the game. However, if you don't score your chances, and then it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. And this clearly seems like that was the case, even though they had 12 shots, only 2 of them on target. So clearly they're not being clinical or very accurate, which is a surprise because Voltemada is usually a good player for them, but he has been, off it recently. for Newcastle for quite a while now. So it's not looking good because when he doesn't perform, then usually they don't do well. So
Yeah, like I said, I won't be able to talk too much, but I will say, for Wolves, fair play to them. They've sort of turned their season around a little bit. Definitely because they were losing game after game after game. So to be able to get results, get wins, get draws is better than nothing. And you know, I guess they're trying to show a little bit of fight. Um, it's better to go out with a fight than to not go out fighting at all. So fair play to them if they can, maybe keep on getting results and at least push it to closer to the final day. That would be probably good for them. You never know. Exactly. It could be the greatest escape we'll ever see. But we'll move on to the next game after that, and that is Aston Villa versus Everton. Obviously, we mentioned earlier another team in the title race dropping points. Yeah, what did we think about the game?
Yeah, a very good performance for Everton. Very good result as well. Tino Barry scoring the goal, which didn't think I'd be saying that because that guy has not really been doing a lot for Everton, but he's starting to pick it up a little. To be fair to him, finally found his shooting boots clearly. So yeah, no, very good game for him as well because like I said, he's probably been getting a lot of criticism because he hasn't been good for most of the season. But yeah, no, it's good for him to get the goal. Good for Everton because they got the result because of it. Good performance from them. Probably good defensive performance from them, being able to hold off Villa away. But yeah, no, in terms of maybe the Villa side of things, yeah, no, it's very, very bad considering they are technically in the title race. Whether Unai Emery wants to admit it or not, he isn't. They are in the title race. And dropping points here is going to be, it's detrimental considering they had that opportunity to shorten the gap between them and Arsenal because Arsenal dropped points and they didn't. They didn't capitalize. But it's been like the story of the season really, like you know what I mean? Because every time Arsenal drop points, it seems like the other two teams in the title race have just been dropping points as well, and this is another case of that. To be fair to Villa, they had 5 shots on target, but we know Pickford is a good goalkeeper, so I'm sure he was very key for Everton staying in the game. Um, but yeah, no, Villa, yeah, it's not good for in terms of a Villa perspective. For Everton, it's a very good result, and yeah, not really much more you can say than that.
Yeah, agreed. Villa should be doing a lot more. As we say, they're a team that are in the title race, and their big players didn't perform in this game. But you can say that Pickford was on fire, making 5 saves and being probably the most impactful player for Everton. Keeping the clean sheet. He's a great player, and obviously that's the reason why he's England's number one. Very consistent for the last couple of years, nearly 10 years now. From the last 2018 World Cup, and obviously we got the World Cup coming up now. Um, they used to talk about him being like his form for England was always insane, but his form for his club was terrible. Over the last couple of years, he's turned that around, and now his form for club has also matched his form for England, which it's quite surprising why he hasn't joined a bigger club because honestly, he's a great goalkeeper. Um, he's got great distribution and he's got everything to his game as a goalkeeper. I would say maybe his handling might let him down, and that's the thing that he makes great worldy saves, but I wouldn't say he's convincing in some of the other aspects of the game. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But again, I can't really mention too much about the game. So
Well, yeah, I did want to just quickly mention the fact that obviously Villa sold Daniel Marlon. I think that probably could have cost them in this game because usually it's a player that comes off the bench and makes a really big impact for Villa, whether it's scoring goals, creating chances, getting assists, whatever it is. I think that was a mistake, especially considering they haven't replaced him, haven't made any signings this January, and that was a problem they had last season, Villa. So yeah, I think if they don't start making signings, which I know they have PSR problems and all this, but they surely should be able to make some signings, especially after signing Dolin. Sorry, was he on loan or was he? I don't know, but after Marlon leaving and stuff, yeah, no, the fact that they haven't really looked at making more signings, especially attacking signings, because that seems like where they need to be making the signings, like last season when they brought in Rashford and Asensio and all that, but they were all on loan. They need to start making permanent signings, but yeah, no, that probably cost them this game. So yeah,
100%. But we'll move on to the next game, and this game we actually did watch because we were obviously traveling over the previous days. So yeah, it was the Brighton vs Bournemouth game. Finished 1-1, and is it a fair result? Maybe if you watch the game, but I think the major talking point is the penalty. Was it a penalty?
I don't think so. I absolutely don't think so. I think it's an absolute disgrace. Again, we talked about VAR multiple times this season, but it just seems like every week there's something to do with VAR and making mistakes. And again, this is another case of that. Got to feel for Brighton because realistically, they win this game without that pen being given to Bournemouth. I just don't understand, like the fact that the referee made the right decision first, and VAR has gone and overturned his decision essentially, because understandably the ref makes the last decision, but he's obviously been influenced by VAR. Because if VAR don't get involved, then I'm sure the game carries on. Because he obviously also gave a yellow card for diving, which I agree with. It was a dive, in my opinion, a little, or at least it wasn't enough contact though. Anyway, to go down for.
I wouldn't say it was a yellow card for a dive though.
Whatever, but I don't think it was enough contact to go down, let alone for a pen. If I'm being honest, obviously you can't blame a player for going down when he feels any contact, because that seems like it's obviously benefited them this time. He's won the penalty for it, and I think the fact that the way VAR and the refereeing's been has made players do this a lot more, and it's kind of ruining the game because a lot of players are going to ground very easily when they don't need to, knowing that the referee is most likely going to give them the foul. So yeah, I think unless the refereeing can get better and start making the right decisions, we won't stop seeing players going down easier or easily anytime in the future, and until the refereeing can fix that. But yeah, no, not ideal for Brighton, considering they did play really well in this game. But so did Bournemouth, to be fair to them. It's just obviously the goal came from the pen that shouldn't have been a pen. So yeah.
It was a great game. To be honest, it was kind of back and forth. Especially in that first half. I rate Brighton and how they keep the ball and how they look after it, but they did give the ball away in the most important moments, which Bournemouth capitalized, and obviously they got the penalty from that. Like Ali was saying, was it a pen or not? I don't think it was enough for a dive. Um, I mean, a yellow card for the dive. There was contact, and like Al says, if there's contact, the players can feel it. So you can't really blame the attacking player for going down because there was contact, but there wasn't enough contact for it to even be a penalty. Maybe you can rescind the yellow card, but I don't really know how that rule works if I'm honest with you. So yeah, on that side, it's not very good. On the Brighton side of things, that goal that they got to get the equaliser was unbelievable. Bicycle kick.
Yeah, what a goal! Costa
Right.
Tulas.
Yeah, Costa
Tulas.
Tulas Charmanopoulos. Okay, I don't want to say that. Greek names are quite hard to pronounce, but yeah, fair play to the kid. They needed a hero, and he came up clutch for them. So fair
What a
play.
goal.
It was an unbelievable goal, and yeah, honestly, at the end they looked like they could have won the game. Verbruggen had to do quite a bit, to be fair to. Sorry, not Verbruggen. Petrovic had to do quite a bit to sort of keep it at 1-1. So fair play. And that is it, guys. That's the results for this week. We'll be doing our predictions in the next video. But Al, do you want to give us the quiz for the next player? Unless you want to add something else.
We'll do the leaderboard quickly.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I give up on the leaderboard. Yeah, I think I had a terrible week.
Yeah, so that's the leaderboard, and we'll go on to the quiz now. So let's start with the first fact. The first fact is he made over 100 Premier League appearances before ever scoring a single league goal. The second fact, he joined Leicester City on a free transfer in 2014 after being released by Aston Villa. The third fact, he provided the most assists in Leicester City's historic 2015-16 Premier League title-winning season. Fourth fact, he was part of a Leicester side that went from relegation candidate to Premier League champions in the space of one season. And for the fifth and the final fact, right-sided winger, known for relentless crossing and work rate, he spent the peak of his career at Leicester City. Let us know if you know who that is in the comments down below, and of course we will reveal him in the next episode.
Thank you very much, guys, for hopping in. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully, if you think this is a start of something, if you prefer us doing in-person videos, we'll try and get that sorted. Obviously, maybe the quality of the video isn't very good. We haven't got our mics, we haven't got our headphones. It's just sort of what we have to work with at the current moment. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, comment if you think there's anything we can improve on for the next video, and turn on your notifications so you get notified when we upload our next videos. And we will see you on the next one. Take care, guys.
Take care.